Lord Friendly, COVID edition. It's our first podcast in like 3 months or something. How are you?
You'd have thought with all the not doing anything involved at the minute that we'd have recorded like a million different podcasts, but
Well, that's my fault, not yours. I've been a little bit absorbed into this game that I've been working on, so it's been pretty much of that. But yeah, how are you doing in this new hellscape? Are you doing okay? Are you staying sane, staying safe?
Well, I'm staying safe because I'm not going into work anymore, because obviously I work in the heritage industry, which involves a lot of contact with people and is not an essential industry by any means.
Are you sure about that? Because the weed shops in Orange County, where I live, are still open and labeled as essential services. So
really?
You would think history would be essential as well. You would think that learning and education, I would find those things essential rather than recreational. Whereas marijuana, it says recreational right in the name, right?
Well, it's the same thing as with liquor stores as well, isn't it? Booze stores are all open because booze stores are essential as well. Of course. I've been making good use of them, don't you worry.
The wine stores in particular for you, right?
Oh yeah.
Quite essential.
Yeah, I've been drinking at least a bottle of wine a week.
Yeah, so then
10 pints a week,
They should call it essential marijuana instead of recreational. Essential wines, essential liquid.
Yeah, and then that makes it seem less controversial.
Essential drugs, not recreational drugs. Yeah, there you go. It's needed for life.
I mean, it is. I'm not going to deny that.
So you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, people, understandably, they've been going, like, stir crazy being locked inside all day.
I'm surprised that I've not gone more stir crazy than I am. And it's weird because my partner's living in the house now. And he's working from the house every single day. So I'd have thought we might well have been at each other's throats. But because I've got my new gaming setup, I can... it's a good timing.
No, it's a good test run, I think, for a future when you're like there together all the time. It's like if you could stand it now, then you know that you can bear it later.
Then put a ring on it.
That's not like a direct command or anything, or it's just a suggestion, I would say, right?
It's been hinted. Like, we've done alright so far. We've been in lockdown for what? Since we got back from my birthday. So we've been in lockdown for about 2 months now because we were going to go out the week after my birthday. But we decided, seeing how everything was going, we were like, no, let's just stay in the house and do nothing.
Doing nothing is cool.
Yeah, we've been coping. It's been alright.
Yeah.
It's just, I just really miss the pub.
Yeah, I miss going outside to eat and just like eating good food. I know that you could have it delivered and stuff, but I'm lazy. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't think it's a bit weird because I don't think my like life has changed at all. I mean, this is more or less how I was living prior to quarantine, so it's pretty much standard mode of operation here. It's nothing has changed except for the fact that I can't just go out and get some food when I want to. It's just it's just not gonna happen. So it's like, yeah, that is a little bit depressing, but overall, I think I'm doing good. People ask me like, yeah, how are you doing? Are you staying sane? I'm like, yeah,
staying sane?
I'm fine. Nothing has changed for me. So now people, I think, understand when I say like, I don't have a good grasp of time, or like the days just kind of bleed all together. It's because when you're inside all day, that's just how it is. And I think people understand that now, like now that they've like gone through COVID. So if people ask me like, how are things, or like why do the days like all bleed together for you, it's just I could just point to this time in our lives and where everyone experienced
just be like,
the
example.
same thing. Remember what it was like during the COVID times, which is kind of like the singular event of this century so far, right? It's just one of the...
Yeah, we've not really had anything that's quite compared to it. You know what? The Australian bushfires seem like they were years ago.
And even that, it's incredibly tragic, but it's sort of localized in a certain place, and it's just no matter what, like usually like the tragedies are like that. It's just like this happened here, there's a tornado here, there's an earthquake here, there was that there, but this is like something that everybody is experiencing. So it's kind of crazy in that sense because you live in England, merry old England, and I live in California, and yet we're experiencing the same thing. It's kind of, it's uniting in a sense, even though it's just, it's kind of crazy.
It's disconcerting. Everyone's in the same boat, but it's just so awful.
It is. It's bad.
And it's got people that, even though it's supposed to be like this uniting thing, it's still got people at everyone's throats and stuff like that. It's not as uniting as we might wish it to be.
Yeah, especially in my neighborhood where you got thousands of people going out to the beach to protest the fact that they can't go to the beach for, it's just this, they think it's an essential service, but it doesn't get you high, so I think not.
Well, we had people who were protesting last weekend in Nottingham, and it ended up being a crowd of like 30 people.
And you guys don't even have a beach.
Yeah, we just have fields. But it was a lot worse the week before because there was talk of easing restrictions and flattening the curve and stuff like that. And it came on a bank holiday weekend. So, not last weekend, but the weekend before, there were people having massive street parties, doing conga lines and stuff like that. And it's like, we're going to see a spike in a week's time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, people are getting frustrated, and instead of seeing it as being like a sacrifice for the good of everyone, they're just stir crazy, being a bit selfish.
Yeah. For some people, it's hard to kind of like recognize that if you even infect one person, you've likely killed a person. Like, because it's going to spread from person to person to person to person. And by the end, you've likely killed like one or two people, like a handful of people, just because you infected one person. So it's just, but because you're not actually like there, like literally like killing that person, like you don't like have your hands on their throat or anything like that, there's like a disconnect. You don't like recognize that you're killing somebody by doing this, even though you are. And I'm sure like that goes for like everything we do in life. Like we don't recognize the harm we do sometimes when we buy certain products, when we do certain things, because the system is designed to kind of, separate us from the fact that we're doing harm. But in this instance, it's a little less separated. It's a little more obvious. You infect a person, you're gonna eventually lead to someone. It's gonna eventually lead to someone's death. So
because it's spread. Because even if it doesn't directly spread to somebody who is vulnerable to it, they could then spread it on to someone else. It's a big old conga chain of infection. It's awful. And
all the while, like while we're staying inside, Jeff Bezos is adding more zeros to his network.
Oh god!
Because he's going to be a trillionaire, right?
God, I wish I had that kind of money. I don't know what I'd do with it.
Well, that's the thing. No person can spend that kind of money, so no person really needs that kind of money. So why is a person capable of getting that kind of money?
Redistribute the wealth.
But I mention him because segue to the game I made. It's.
You threw that in so casually, Chris. Come on, let's do a bit of a better build-up to it. So whilst you've been in quarantine, people have been saying, "Ooh, I'm being so productive." Well, you've been more productive than most then, haven't you, Chris?
Yeah, I made an entire game.
An entire game. So, go on. You've got to pitch it,
Do I have to pitch it? I'm terrible at pitching things. Yeah. I've never pitched anything in my life. Like, everything I've ever done has been word of mouth, which is why none of my mods have ever been hot files. It's not a virtue. It's just that I'm very bad at it. If you look at our Discord channel is not the most active community. It's all because I'm very bad at this.
Mainly because we don't communicate with people. That's our thing.
I'm very bad at the marketing aspect. So
no, do you want me to give you a shot?
Okay, go ahead. Pitch this game to me that I made.
So, we are in a world where you're really, really, really hungover. Right? You wake up, your head's feeling a bit fuzzy, you're feeling really, out of shape.
Yes.
And so you stumble out of this room that you've woken in, and suddenly you are confronted by this massive factory filled with conspiracies and corruption and money and a mysterious product that you've got to get to the market. And it's all an allegory. But what's it an allegory for? I'm not going to tell you. You've got to play the game and find out for yourself.
You're making it sound very grand. It's not that type of game. It's very small, derpy, and
it's great.
It's got a lot of dumb humor. Like it's not like an epic the way Alice described it.
It is definitely.
It's not an epic. It's a very short game. It's about 2 to 3 hours, and it does allow for choice. It has multiple endings, but yeah. See, I'm not very good at selling stuff. See, if I sold it as an epic, maybe we'd get more sales.
No, if you sell it like this, instead of saying it's a couple of hours long, it's got multiple endings. It's a branching story.
Yes, there you go. See, that's why I'm bad at this. I'm just not good at selling the game. I tell the truth too much. This is what it is. But it's like, yeah, I don't really think the game will sell all that well. I mean, I'm happy with the game. I like the game. I'm aware of certain flaws, but I'm more or less like happy with the end result.
And it is your first foray into full-on game design. Like, it's the first time that you've not really been working in an established framework.
Yeah. And I think this game will do as well as some of my Fallout 3 mods, where it has a small niche following, but it's not like interesting NPCs where you have like 100,000 endorsements or something like that. It's not going to do that. It's probably just going to, like, if there was endorsements, it'd probably get like 200 or 300 and then have a small niche following. Like a lot of the Fallout 3 mods I see, or the New Vegas mods, I'll see like videos and let's plays of them and people will like them. They're just not that popular just because the game is so old, right? And so I think that this game, because there's like such a small niche audience for this type of game, I don't anticipate it selling all that well. But it doesn't stop me from treating it as a lottery ticket, more or less. You never know.
Yeah.
Right now, this is.
So what was it?
I was gonna say, right now, this is the day before the lottery draw, and when the day before you have your ticket and you start dreaming of all the things you're gonna buy. That's what it is right now. Then when the actual draw happens and you're like, oh, none of my numbers match, then it's like, okay.
So what was it that made you want to design a full-blown game in the first place? Like, what's the timeline been on this? Because this is a really interesting insight into how you would go about it.
It actually has nothing to do with COVID, I think, because I started somewhere in like February. So this game...
Yeah, you've been asking me to playtest it for ages.
No, this game took about... Which is still kind of crazy. It took about 4 months to make. And I think I started more or less because I just wanted to get back into Unity. And I kind of like would see things on Twitter of people like, they made this game in Unity using this thing. And I'm like, hey, wait, I know that thing. I've used that thing before. And so like I kind of got the itch. And I just started like really, really small because the last game I tried in Unity was like an open world and it was poorly optimized and it was way too grand.
Yeah.
That's the mistake everybody makes with mods and games. They start off with way too big of these grand ideas, these epic ideas. And so this is like more of just paring everything down to small little cells so I don't have to worry too much about optimization and small story.
I find it funny that you're saying, oh, well, in mods and stuff you start off with these grandiose ideas, and you literally added 150 NPCs to a game, Chris.
Yeah,
so you can't talk about starting small.
No, but that started small too. That started with 1 or 2 NPCs, and it sort of gradually scaled up. And so it's the same kind of concept. I guess I could scale up this game if I wanted to, but I probably won't. I mean, we could always add like DLC or something, but because there's a built-in DLC hook. Like if you go to the warehouse, there's a chaplain who talks about, spoilers. It's not like a big spoiler or anything, but he talks about like the whole like factory being a simulation. So if it's a simulation, things can appear out of nothing if you just like if the creator creates them. It's a bit meta in that sense. So like all I have to do is put a door in the warehouse and say like the simulation created the door, and then we have DLC. A gateway to DLC content.
Yeah. So, in terms of getting started with the Unity game then, did you like start off with the basic idea of what you wanted to do? Or what mechanics you wanted to put in, things like that? Or
the idea sort of branched out from like the limitations. Like, okay, I can't do humans who have all these like crazy animations and do all this crazy stuff, right? So what does the basic Unity software have? It has what basic 3D models does it have? It has a cube, it has a cylinder, and it has a sphere. So those are the three sort of basic like models that you can use. And I was originally just going to not even have robots that were that complicated. They were just going to be cubes, spheres, and cylinders moving around. But eventually I found sort of art assets on the Unity store, and they became like robots. So, but that conform to those specific shapes. So the basic idea of the shapes still held true. And it's like a fun pun. It's like, because there's these other beings in the factory that are more humanoid, and they're made out of shapes. So, it's like a pun. Out of shape, out of shapes, made out of shapes. So that's what.
See, I thought that the title was from you waking up feeling really out of shape.
Yeah, no, it's a pun. It has a double meaning, right? I mean, it's not a double entendre because that is usually something sexual. I guess I don't know what the exact term is, but I guess it's just a pun. Like, because you're out of shape because you're all fucked up, right? You're drunk, you're out of shape. Yeah. But the title is Out of Shapes with an S, and the whole point of that is that the clusters, which are these humanoid figures in the factory, are made out of shapes. And so, hence the title.
Hence the title.
Dun, dun, dun. It's like in the movie where the actor says the title name. And
Well, to be fair, I don't think any of your characters say out of shapes.
But it's like okay.
No.
So imagine if like in the latest Star Wars, they're like, this is a war, a Star Wars, like that, right?
Oh my god, yes, I would pay for that. It would probably be more widely accepted than any of the recent movies, at least.
Or we're gonna go on a trek.
A Star Trek. We're going to go through a trek through the stars. It's going to be lovely. A Star Trek, if you will.
There's got to be a movie that does that, right?
Probably is. It's just that my movie knowledge is not up to par. It is not existent, in fact.
I guess in a comic book you could do that. Like, man, that Logan's an animal. He's like a Wolverine or something like that.
I think it's his character's actually name.
Yeah, that's true.
If you've seen Midsommar gets mentioned a lot in Midsommar.
There you go. Anyways, what were you saying?
So you've had some sort of workable build of the game together since like end of February, and what were the challenges in working with playtesters and stuff like that? Because obviously you've got different systems to be working with. You asked everyone to screen record and voice over what they were doing, what they were aiming for, things like that. What was the worst thing about it?
There's nothing bad about it, I guess. I mean, being able to watch you guys play is extremely helpful. It's just, I mean, not everything is helpful. Like watching you play the minigame for like 20 minutes is not helpful. But it's helpful. It's helpful to watch people play because you see things that wouldn't stand out as bugs. You might not think a certain behavior is a bug, or you might think that certain behavior is intended, but it's not, or you like might miss something. And it's helpful to watch, like, you play. Like, I don't think anybody has clicked on that poster by the elevator. Like, I should probably move it because nobody clicked on it. But there is a...
Wait, which poster by the elevator?
Like, at the start of the game, you walk out into the factory floor, right? And there's the side elevator. Not the elevator, the main elevator. The side elevator that takes you.
Oh,
There's a poster right next to it, and nobody has clicked on it. It's like in a prominent spot. It's right next to the elevator that everyone uses, right? That you have to use to navigate the floor. But nobody clicks on the poster, and that's interesting. Like, there are certain things, like there's behavior that you would, because you know what's there, you're going to click on it. Like, I would click on it to test it, but like the average person does not. It's interesting. It's interesting watching other people play. Because that's the same case with like mods and stuff. It's interesting watching people play and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good experience. I think the main thing that I wanted to get out of it, because it's not gonna make any money, is how do you upload a game to Steam? Because that's like a question, like the average person would not know. It's just how do you upload a game to Steam, and it turns out it's really really bizarre and abstruse. I guess I'm not sure what the right word would be, but it's
a very complicated process, isn't it?
It's needlessly complicated. How about that?
It's even just navigating because I had a bit of a play around on the Steamworks. I didn't change anything on the page, or
yes,
did I?
all the money goes straight to your bank account. Yeah.
But,
what you didn't know
so
is it already went to your bank
account. Yeah, so I was having a look around the Steamworks page, and it's so bizarrely laid out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not consumer friendly at all.
So, like, you would think
they should have had somebody playtesting the Steamworks game generation page.
So let me lay it out for you. Like, to upload a mod, all you have to do is hit upload and pick your file, and it uploads to the Nexus page. Like, you go to files, you go to upload, you upload. Okay, done.
Yeah.
Steam, you have to do the following. You have to first download the Steamworks, I think it's called. Then you have to open a notepad file, a text file, and write out a little script that does the upload, and then replace like all the numbers inside the script with the app ID of your game. Okay, so you make this script in a text file, and you don't have any idea how to make this script. You just kind of have to like Google it and find it. Yeah.
Wing it.
So once you make that, then you have to log in through a command line, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but it's like DOS, it's like DOS. You hit CMD.
Yeah.
And it's a command line prompt, and so you have to type all this out. You have to log in to Steam using a command line. Then you have to run the script through the command line that you made a notepad text for, and point it to your Steam account or whatever, and upload it that way. And it's not that difficult if you know what you're doing, but if you don't have that information,
if you're new to...
I almost rage quit. Like, I was almost gonna...
God.
It was so fucking annoying that I almost just uploaded the thing for free and said, fuck it. Fuck Steam. This is ridiculous. I don't get it.
Oh, God.
But eventually I did figure it out. But it was difficult. I did not understand it. I was staring at the screen for like 3 hours, not sure what to do. Because you have to run a series of commands in the command line and also have the right script. And also know where to put your files in the right folder. And also put the Steam stuff in your software. And it's just like all this stuff where it's just, it'd be so nice if you just like do what Nexus does and just fucking upload the thing. But yeah, it was a bit confusing.
I mean, I suppose it's to stop loads of spamware being uploaded. It's like an extra hurdle. I'd be interested to see if, because there's a lot of controversy about Steam greenlight developers like Digital Homicide and stuff like that, just uploading and uploading and uploading constant repeats of really bad games. Maybe the complicated nature of having to upload and process payments for a game is in part to put off people who think it's easy.
It is. I don't know about that, because it is easy once you figure it out. Like, once you know what you're doing, it's easy. So I think the $100 fee is what more of a deterrent for that. Because I had to pay $100 just to put the game up on Steam. So
God.
No, this game is not going to make its money back. It is basically just for the experience. There is no way in hell. It's like a lottery ticket. I mean, it's possible it's gonna sell a lot, but
it's not your priority.
Yeah, I don't think it is. But I'm happy with the end result, more or less.
I have to say, I've played a lot of the game. Not as much as you have, obviously.
I've played way too much.
But I've probably played about 15 hours or so of it, haven't I? Something like that. Sounds about right. And done the bug testing and stuff. I don't get tired of it. It's funny. But I think that's just because me and you have a very similar sense of humour. It might just be me being very highly subjective. But
people who actually play the game have liked it. I don't know, they could just be lying to me, right? People who actually played the game have generally been really positive. Like even like Jennifer told me she doesn't play this type of game, but she thought it was really good and she thought I was gonna be rich.
Yeah.
And like to not forget her when I become rich. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna become rich. But yeah, she was super positive about the game. But the thing is, convincing people to play is like pulling teeth. Like I cannot convince anyone to play. I can't even convince my own brother to play. I sent him the game. I gave him a code, and he just ghosted me after that.
Oh, that's just rude.
No, I mean, I don't know how much of a gamer he is. He might not even have Steam. But yeah, it's really hard to get people to play. Like other modders, I've sent codes to, but I know they're not going to play the game, so it's just I know those codes are going to waste. But at the same time, Steam gives you as many codes as you want, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I've got 2 people lined up to play it as soon as it's released. So
the people who have played it, usually I've paid them to play it to do QA. So you've played it, Jennifer's played it, Ariana's played it, but I have paid all 3 of you, so that's
yeah.
So basically, this game it'll sell 1 million copies as long as I pay 1 million people.
Fair enough. That works. That works for me.
Todd
anyway.
needs to just raise my salary. Come on, Todd.
Fair enough.
Come on, Todd.
Now, in terms of, because obviously you've had to watch a lot of our QA stuff, what's the stupidest thing that you've seen one of us do? Or weirdest?
See, I don't think there is a weird thing.
Just the thing that's made you had to step back and go, what are you doing?
No. I mean, the mini game is the mini game, and people will find that out if they play it. But no, there's nothing weird because all behavior is informational. Any behavior that's different from the behavior I exhibit when I play, like me, the person who knows what's supposed to happen and what can happen, is interesting and helps find bugs. Like Ariana tried to jump through the window and found that you can jump right through the window and go into the ether.
Oh shit!
In the executive lounge, you can actually jump through the window and fall into the void, more or less. And I would not have known that because it would have never occurred to me to try and jump through the window. And that is something that you could do in the earlier builds.
Or how I like to do hardcore parkour.
Yeah, exactly.
And keep on falling.
Well,
yeah,
there was one place that I had no idea you were able to get to, but you managed to get there. And so I put something there in the final version, in the warehouse.
You'll see in my latest QA video, I've managed to do that again. I've managed to get to an inaccessible area because I really love jumping on things.
And that's the thing. It's because when you watch other people play, they exhibit behaviors that they think are part of the game or should be part of the game, whereas like that there's nothing there, so you don't go there, you don't touch it, you don't, it just doesn't occur to you to do that, and so that's why it's good to watch other people play. But yeah, we'll put a link to the game on the bottom of this YouTube video and
in the description.
So if you're interested, give it a shot. It's $8.99. $8.99, which fun. I don't know how much that is in British pounds.
Be about 5
in quid.
Quid.
Yes.
I don't know. The economy is busted at the minute, mate.
So there you go. I think it's reasonably priced. I have no idea how much indie games are priced, but I figured that since this is my first game, that I would discount it a little bit. I think normal indie games are like 14 or something around there. So I figured discount it a bit because you never know. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully people
give it a shot.
So, any other news you want to talk about in the gaming world?
In the gaming world, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has had a new trailer and is now scheduled for a September
I need to
release.
dust off my bingo card.
And I'm just thinking, well, I wish that it had been released on my birthday as it was originally scheduled to be, because now would be the perfect time. Instead, I'm going to have to book some time off work in September.
See, I got wine. I got... Did we mention dicks? I guess not.
No, we didn't. Well, you did.
Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines, and bingo. There we go.
Maybe we should actually make an actual bingo card.
It would just be Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines on every square. But
Fatberg.
Are you excited you mentioned Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Twitter, right?
Yes. So, those of you who are long-term listeners, you will know that I did my master's in Anglo-Saxon and Viking studies.
Yes, that is also on my bingo card.
I'm a dork. And yeah, when Assassin's Creed came out with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, pretty excited, to be honest. Even more so because it turns out that Rory Dale, he's consulted on the linguistics and other stuff for the game, and he worked at my university. And I can remember I've been on a road trip with him, which was fantastic. We went all the way around the northwest, and we got stuck in a field with some sheep.
Ooh. And it's not that sheep that had like wool so thick the wolves couldn't eat it, was it? Did you see that sheep?
Not quite, no.
It had so much floof, like wolves would just like try and bite it, but they would just bite floof.
And bounce off it. Amazing. But yeah, and I've also done a couple of cultural outreach things with the uni with him, and played a dead body whilst we were being visited by kids to do Viking outreach with them. And he's consulting on the game.
And he didn't ask you? How dare he not ask you to help consult on this game?
I am not on his level. Not in any way, shape or form. So that was really exciting. I was like, ooh, I know another person who does gaming things.
Maybe when you're raiding the coasts of Britain, you'll see like a really floofy sheep, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's the same sheep we saw when we were in the field that day."
I'm quite excited about whether they're going to be doing some linguistics in Old English, because as much as I like the Vikings, I was terrible at Old Norse. Like, that's why I wouldn't be able to do the consultation. But I was pretty adept with my Old English. Although, I suppose at that point it's not going to be as Old English as I might be wanting.
You could always consult them on jumping off rooftops and parkour, because you seem to be a master at that based on your play of my video game.
Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think that the developers of Assassin's Creed are already pretty good at designing jump of things.
It's not the most realistic. You could jump off a building into a pile of hay.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think this is the first time in a long time that I've been excited about an Assassin's Creed game, because it's an area of history that I'm really interested in. And that's one of the best things about the Assassin's Creed games, is it's basically educational.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the weird like time travel stuff, I mean,
aliens.
Aliens and stuff. I hope it's mostly
fucking aliens.
Yeah, historically accurate. Which is, I think they're leaning more toward historical accuracy and less for all the weirdness that was part of the original series. Like, I think the last game, the one the Odyssey or whatever, like they still used all that, like the whole like present day shit and going back in time, but it felt more like I was just playing a game in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
And constantly going back and forth in the, whatchamacallit, what's the little pod that they use? I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I played an Assassin's Creed game, to be honest.
Assassin Time Pod, that's what it's called. Yeah. I should name things.
The magical time pod of mystery.
Yeah. And it's coming out this year. That's pretty cool, right?
Yes, it is. It's coming out for the holiday release.
Yeah.
That is, of course, unless COVID disrupts everything.
Yeah, that's true. COVID gonna COVID. It's a lot of...
We've also...
Oh, go ahead.
No, we've also had some information out about Last of Us as well, Last of Us 2.
Oh, yeah, supposedly there was a bunch of spoilers that came out too, right?
Yes, so avoid them like the plague if you're looking up any information about Last of Us 2. Did you ever end up playing The Last of Us?
I have played The Last of Us. It's a very good game.
Ooh, what you think? It's really good.
Yeah. I really like it.
I think it's one of the few pieces of media that have made me cry in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because that opening section in the first game was absolutely astounding. I was crying like a baby and shoving Pringles into my mouth so that I could no longer cry like a baby. I was eating away my feelings.
Yes. You were using all that salt to absorb your water. Your tears would no longer come out. It'd just be like crystals.
Exactly. Crying tears of salt. Not the first time that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. It's a great game. Have you been playing any of the other COVID games that have been really popular, like Animal Crossing or?
No, I don't have. I don't have a Switch.
Oh yeah, I have a
so
Switch.
I can't play Animal Crossing.
No, I just haven't been playing games, but that seems to be one that's really popular.
In terms of things that I have been playing on during the situation, these unprecedented times, I've decided to finally try playing properly this little game called Karma Flow. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's the rock opera video game. It came out in like 2014, 2015, and like many of the games that I have on my Steam, I didn't play it when I first bought it. When I first bought it on sale, and I decided, you know what, it sounds like an interesting game. It's basically a musical video game.
Okay.
It's got some quite famous rock singers. It's got some people from Cradle of Filth.
Okay, so like when you talk to an NPC, they just start singing at you like in a musical?
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
It's really fun. Like it's got a bit of jank. Like it's not the world's best game or anything, but it's fun. It's something different and it's something interesting.
Do you sing back at them in like text form?
No, you're a silent protagonist.
Boo.
But yeah, it's a really good game. It's really enjoyable. So if anyone's wanting to break up all of their Animal Crossing and Doom playing with a bit of something different, definitely recommend.
Now I want to make that game where you you talk to somebody, they sing, and then you get to sing like a line back. Like it'll just be text, right?
Yes. I mean, I will sing badly for it if you want.
But that would be kind of how would that work? Like you would sing back, but what if you messed up the line? I guess would the person you're talking to like have to react? Because if you're doing dialogue, you talk to a person, you say something. If you say something mean, they react to the mean thing you say, right? So if you sing something, I guess you could sing a song that is very harsh and mean,
out of tune,
and then they would react. You would sing a song that said like basically "fuck you," and they would sing back, "No, fuck you," and then just yeah.
Honestly, your lyrical prowess is really making me imagine this game. I can picture it right now.
What would the melody be?
Fuck you. Fuck
No,
you very, very much.
Fuck you.
No, fuck you.
No, fuck you.
And there we have it. We have the first line's voice for Chris's next game project. Out of Tune.
The sequel to Out of Shapes.
The musical DLC for Out of Shapes.
Or it could be Out of Tunes. Because the world has run out of songs, and you need to populate the world with your
You need to bring
music.
the beautiful music back to the world. You know what else I've been planning on playing? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna reinstall Oblivion.
Oh, are you?
Yep, I'm going to reinstall Oblivion.
By Azura, by Azura, by Azura.
By Azura! I've got the extra special Game of the Year edition with all the little tidbits here. Not tidbits, mini DLCs like the legendary horse armor DLC and things.
Yes, legendary.
So I'm going to download that. I'm going to mod the shit out of it
Yes.
so it doesn't offend my 2020 sensibilities.
Even the faces?
2006.
Is there anything for the faces?
Even the face. Oh yeah, there's some really good mods for remeshing faces and stuff like that, so they look less potato-y.
Well, there you go. Oblivion, a great game.
So I'm gonna reinstall it. I'm gonna mod it, and I'm gonna relive what it was like when I was in year 8, 13 years old.
Yes.
Oh god. Oh no. Saying that made me throw up in my mouth a little.
There should be a mod for Skyrim and Oblivion to turn all the lines into singing lines.
Yes. Work on it.
Yes. All like 40,000 lines.
Yeah. No, I was that was well over 10 years ago when I first played Oblivion.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel a bit sick.
Yeah.
I feel very sick actually.
Yeah. It's a good sick. It's a nostalgia. The disease of nostalgia.
Quarantine is de-aging me something fierce.
No, yeah.
Like, normally I don't get ID'd and stuff, but recently when I've been going out on my booze runs, I've just been getting ID'd all the time. Oh. It's fantastic. It's very flattering, in fact.
Aren't you wearing a mask, though? I mean...
Yes, but it's also because my eyebrow wrinkles aren't quite as prominent because I'm not being as expressive with my face anymore, because obviously I act for my day job and I've got a very expressive and moving face.
It sounds like you weren't wearing a mask. You're like, yes.
Well, I wasn't at the very start of it, but now it's getting to the point where it's like, yeah, let's be sensible about it. Yeah.
Please wear a mask.
Yeah, don't be stupid.
I know that you have every reason to show that beautiful face of yours, but please, cover it up.
Don't be stupid.
Cover it up. All right, so that's it for this episode. We've talked for about an hour almost. So no, 50 minutes. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good for her.
That's good for us. Yeah. Getting back in the swing of things.
And,
Buy Out of Shapes.
Yeah, please. Buy 3 copies. Buy one for all your friends.
Please recoup his costs.
Yes. There's no way I'm recouping my costs, but...
He spent so much money getting me to jump on things.
Yes. But at least it will help me, like, buy a beer or buy a mask in these troubled times. But yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine financially. You don't have to buy anything. But that is it for this episode. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.